right, everybody, it's episode 100. We have finally made it.
Hey.
Oh my god. And we even have Kevin back for this episode. It's been forever, man.
I've been kidnapped. I need help. I've been tied to a pole in his basement. If you guys need the address, that's, never mind. Hi.
Hey. Nah, trick question. It's actually in your basement I got you tied up?
That's actually
Why'd you
weird.
let him know?
I am in my basement, so that works.
Look, man, if a guy's kidnapped, the last place they'll look is still in their own home.
Shit, that's a really good tip. Thank you. I never would have guessed there.
Yeah, it's good to have you back for the triple digit episode. You haven't been back in like a year and a half, basically.
I haven't. The everything's been going wild. The streaming thing's been taken off. We did a separate. It's a whole different idea of a podcast. I've been very busy doing all of that. But at least like the whole streaming thing picking up. I've been playing more games that I never thought I would because people keep asking me, and I only want to die a little bit. So.
Yeah, I pop in every once in a while to a Twitch stream or one of your YouTube little dumps that you end up doing over on Console Kev.
It's literally called Console Kev's Twitch dump. Like, I don't do any editing, just here. If you missed it, it's over there.
Yeah, I kind of like that more because then I don't have to be there live. And then I can just kind of skip things over time. I was like, okay, it's kind of cool.
People try to tell me, like, I guess you can highlight the whole Twitch stream and it'll save it forever on Twitch because normally they delete after like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was like, you should make real YouTube content. I'm like, no, because nobody watched them. So there.
It's okay. I watch them.
Thank you.
Episode 100, triple digits. Joey, it happened to be your pick, but I guess we all kind of came to a good conclusion on which this one should be. It should be a nice little easy episode. Classics was your choice, Joey. Why?
Yep, classics. Because why not? It's episode 100. Let's all have a good time. Play some classics. See if they hold up.
Yeah, some of the all-time best games ever made from the best franchises.
A lot of goats, but are they still playable today?
That is always the question. Like, how long do you play them before you just go, okay? That exact reaction. Kevin, what's it feel like to be back exactly?
It feels like I knew I had something to do Sunday morning, and I was like, I'm supposed to be doing something today. I knew it because I'm all messed up. Like, normally we do Sunday or Saturday recordings depending on the week and when I'm allowed to go teach jiu-jitsu now. So I did mine yesterday, and I'm like, there's something I'm supposed to do today. Then I remembered, and then I was like, where's my video of Rondo of Blood? I had that up, compared it to the PSP version I played. I'm like, this is a lot more research than I remember. I have to get back to this. It's a whole new flow.
It's not as much research as you think. Just kind of pull up basic info, give our thoughts. Episodes are much shorter these days. It's quite nice.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Yeah. How's the Frenemy podcast going?
So we started doing it pre-recorded because it was just easier to edit and do whatever.
Yes.
And then for our Patreon content, not that I'm trying to plug it on here, we have these thing called Evergreen Episodes, which are just kind of like whatever topics. They don't need to be like news relevant. Well, like tier list Pokemon or whatever for a week. Me and Aaron can't record. And then we were like having a bad couple of weeks. Like, hey, what if we did like a live show to like hold people over to when we can't record, so we make up for a day. And we just switched right to live shows. So now we're doing them live, and we're eating bad jelly beans when people drop bits or subscriptions. And half the episode is us like bullshitting, and the other half is us like gagging on bad jelly beans as the other person's trying to tell a story. So just, I'll be talking in your ear and just like starting to puke. I'm like, great, this is wonderful. Love it. So I don't know, doing it live has a whole new element to it. You have to, one, mind your words because there's no editing. Two, it's like, man, if anything goes on in the background, that could be a problem, but risk reward kind of thing. People love the live thing, and somehow it ended up doing more downloads after we did it live. So I don't know, I guess double dipping. Sure, why not?
Well, I'm one of those that listens only like on Spotify after it's all said and done.
We appreciate it. So yeah, it's a whole different thing. It's mostly just it's just us bullshitting for an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah, That's Front of Me Fire podcast, guys. If you want to go it, sign up to the Patreon. I might do that right when we're done here.
We got more coming out. We're trying to record one at least once a week to really cue it up on there.
There you go. I also have a Patreon. All wrestling,
plug
all
your
the stuffs.
Patreon.
Yes. Redley
So you
Retrocast.
watched
Go check.
All Out.
Of course, we watched All Out. One of the greatest
Yeah.
pay-per-views of all time.
I would say of all time, yes.
It's definitely up there. And I was at the WrestleMania 17 2001.
I don't even think it compares. It was that good.
Yeah, I was just kind of triggering people with saying it that way.
Oh, yeah, because people who are like, it's old, therefore it must be better.
I mean, no.
I don't know. A lot of people think that with games too. Like they're like, old games are better because older. I'm like, no.
No.
Not always.
Yeah.
And we can get into that with this topic because I think one of them doesn't hold up.
There's one on this list I'm ready to fucking go in on, and I'm sure JD knows which one I'm gonna go off on about. But
Sure.
I have one I want to go off on because it just doesn't live up. I remember playing it so fondly, and it just makes me sad now.
All right, so let's shit on a bunch of people's childhoods. But as we do, even though this is episode 100, I'm still curious what my friends are up to. What games have you guys been playing? Who wants to go first?
Colin does.
Colin does.
Okay.
Wow, I'm so glad you volunteered, Colin.
I've been voluntold, but okay.
Voluntold. Oh, I love it. Write
Yeah.
that down. Redley Retrocast,
Yeah.
you've been voluntold.
Yeah, I've been, again, playing more Neo, The World Ends With You. For Kevin's sake, that's the sequel to The World Ends With You.
Yeah, I keep getting it confused. Their naming convention was really weird on that.
Yeah, I got to agree. But for the record, The World Ends With You is my all-time favorite game, so I'm committed to playing this one all the way through. And things are beginning to get interesting now that another character from the previous game has shown up and teamed up with our main characters. The plot continues to thicken,
Ooh.
and the gameplay is still fun, but one complaint I have is that whenever a battle starts up, the load times are really obnoxious. I'm playing the PS4 version, so I don't know if the Switch version has the same problem.
Could not tell you, Colin. I haven't looked into the specific Switch version of World Ends With You.
Yeah, I should probably look at like a YouTube video or something, see if there's still load times there, but I'll do that at another time. Been also occasionally playing further through Trauma Center Under the Knife since our last cast. Just been curious to see further how it compares to the Wii version. And at some point, I'm looking to get Under the Knife 2, since the Wii version doesn't seem to have a direct sequel to Second Opinion.
I
So-
follow you. Yeah.
And this isn't one I've played, but I heard some news about Alan Wake Remastered coming out next month.
Yes. That just kind of popped up on my timeline. I went, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Might have to
Okay.
finally play that game.
it's coming out October 5th of this year, so less than a month away.
When did Alan Wake come out?
2010.
Ah, yeah, okay. So we gotta wait. We gotta wait a while.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played Alan Wake.
Maybe we'll wait a while.
I recently played Alan Wake. This may be a hot take, but that's one of the most overrated, underrated games in the world.
Okay.
Explain.
Everyone talked about what a great game it was, how it was like so scary, especially for like the I think it was like close to the launch, right? It came out for 360.
It came out for 360.
Yeah, the best part of that game was like the random rock concert you did, shooting not zombies on a rock stage as like Viking metal played in the background. And I was like, this is really out of place for this game, but all right. Like it wasn't scary at all. And it was one of those plots that's like convoluted for convolution's sake. Like, ooh, it's so deep and it's up to your interpretation. Like, it didn't make any fucking sense. So it's fine, but like
It was inspired by Twin Peaks, so make it
Yeah,
what you
which-
will.
well, I also played Deadly Premonition, which was like, oh, it's based on Twin Peaks. And now I just know that as a red flag to be like, God, this game's going to make no sense. No problem.
Deadly Premonition is also garbage. So
Yeah, that is also a game that people like. That was like a lightning in a bottle thing. That second one came out. I was like, this isn't going to work again.
no, like
But-
a purposely made bad game it usually doesn't work.
No.
Shocking.
Sometimes it
Room.
can. I mean, Goat Simulator is objectively a bad game, but it's still fun. So is Surgeon Simulator.
Those are, I think, a category of their own.
Well, actually, so like there goes again. There's Surgeon Simulator 2 that just came out, and I'm like, this isn't going to work again. Like, you know?
Yeah, I guess you could classify those as troll games.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
nonsense physics type games. Those.
Yeah. I just don't think it's going to work twice. But hey, what do I know?
So then, what makes Alan Wake underrated?
Everyone, it's just one of those things that people are like, oh, it's a game that nobody played. Like not enough people played it.
I see. Okay.
And, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know. Everyone always talks about it, the Dreamcast. Like, it's so underrated. I'm like, if every YouTuber's talking about it, it's not underrated anymore, guys. But it is September, so it's a law that you have to make a video on it every September.
Yeah, according to GameSpot, it looks like Alan Wake was an Xbox exclusive for a long time because Microsoft had the rights to it. But
Yep.
as of 2019, Remedy got the rights back from them.
Mhm.
That's about the same time that they came out with Control, and then they were able to make a DLC that links the two in the same universe. And
I
it
really
sounds
thought
like-
about getting the PS5 version of Control because it has all the DLC in it.
Yeah, also
Ooh.
played Control.
I need to go back to play that. I only played the main story. I haven't played any DLCs yet.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten the DLC, so at this point, it's like, oh man, do I just get the PS5 version because the reduced price is slightly less than the DLC put together?
So have you played Control at all, or
Yeah, I've
it's
beaten
the
I've
first
beaten the
time
game
playing?
proper. Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Oh, I really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The story and the game doesn't get moving until about 2 hours in, which is a major flaw I pointed out. That's kind of the biggest one. And then you just the game just rolls and keeps going from there and keeps getting more and more interesting and in depth. And the boss fights I thought were few and far between, which was another flaw. But it makes up for it with sequences up to events, which I thought was a pretty cool way of going about it. Obviously, I've really gushed about the moving hallway in the with the rock music playing on in the background the whole time.
Yeah, so that was like the same moment from Alan Wake. Like they had this moment where it's the same band actually too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's another thing
or-
that links the two.
Gods of Asgard, I think the band is.
Yeah,
it's really
old
good.
Gods
Old
of
Gods.
Asgard.
Yeah, I thought with Control though, like those kinds of they do it more than once in the game with weird sequences like that, like getting sucked into a refrigerator or some shit. You got to fight it. Like these are the
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
the
the
game
monster.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. Like you said, the game doesn't start for like 2 hours, but it's one of the few games I read every single paper I picked up and watched every single video or whatever else you picked up because I just like all the lore around like SCP and that kind of stuff.
So I got to the end of Control and I did not beat it because I thought one segment was just so bad that I was like, you know what, I'm not having fun anymore.
Oh, do tell. I'm curious.
It was like towards the end. I think there's like a bunch of platforms in like a big open empty room. You just had to keep going up and up and up. And I felt like no matter what angle I was at, I was getting shot from somewhere. And I was losing my shit on stream. I was just like, you know, I'm done with this game. Like I think the gunplay is really good. And it like there's a really good game in there for me. But like I was like, I really don't care what happens at the end of the story. And I'm like, I think I had my fill.
I mean, you could just look it up.
I could look it up. I did look it up, actually. It still made no sense. The map is also one of the worst maps I've ever seen in a game.
Yes, I think that's that goes without saying. It is absolutely the worst map I've ever experienced in a video game.
Yeah.
That's why I believe the year it came out. Actually, I could look this up. I don't think I made like the top 20. Let's see
Right.
here.
It's a fucking terrible map, but I eventually found my way around. It's just like it'll tell you to go like here, go up to this room to the left. Oh, you also have to go around the whole building. We're not going to tell you how to get there, but you'll figure it out. I believe in you.
Yeah, don't bother looking at the map. Control
No.
game. Here we go. Let's see.
But,
When did it come out?
It is a
Came out
game, that's for sure.
2019.
Yeah, according to GameSpot.
Okay, I have it listed as the 15th best game that year. So that tells you enough.
Yeah. So, according to GameSpot, it sounds like Remedy has announced another game that's going to be in the same universe as Control and Alan Wake. So, it's not clear whether it's going to be a sequel to either of them, but I guess releasing Remastered at this point will serve as a refresher for people who haven't played it for a while or at all.
Mm.
But it'll have both DLC for it as well, so as soon as it comes out, I'll probably get it. Make it a Halloween play.
That wouldn't be bad.
Not bad, not bad. Joey, games have you been playing?
A lot of Rocket League.
More Rocket
A
League.
lot of it. I play a little bit of Phasmophobia with the update, and that's a lot of fun.
What's new in the latest update?
They added 2 new ghosts. They changed up some of the hunt stuff, so they're not fully visible throughout the whole hunt. And your
freaky.
electronics are only affected if they're close, so you won't know if something's going on if you're far away. But then you hear singing or humming or something, or like groaning, and then you know they're coming.
I've seen this update actually in a couple Let's Plays.
It's pretty creepy when you hear singing and you're like, oh fuck. They go through doors, like they know to look to your last location, so you have to like break line of sight and then go hide. If you have electronics on you, they can find you if they're on.
Oh,
so there's
wild.
The cameras now get glitched when they walk by. There's a new equipment called dots that you put down in the room, and if you look infrared, you can watch them walk through the dots.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot harder, and it's a lot of good laughs with some people, especially if they really don't know how to play, and you can just laugh at them when they die.
You should record some of your Let's Plays of Phasmophobia and just throw it up on the YouTube
I
channel
should
here.
have, because I played late night one night, and me and someone else were trapped in the corner, and I smudge sticked, so we were just holding off the smudge stick, and then my friend comes walking through, not realizing it was a hunt, and walked right through the ghost and killed himself to save us without realizing it. And we just started laughing because he's like, oh, I'm gonna go hide, and you're like, oh, there he goes, and it was funny because he died every time. He's like, I'm not gonna die this time, and he walked through the ghost.
Might have to give you access to the YouTube channel so you can just throw up a Let's Play on there.
I'll try to record next time I play.
Yeah, we'll do that. I had quite the last couple weeks playing Syphon Filter.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I spoke last time of beating Resident Evil 0. I believe I did. I believe I finished. That was weeks ago. But now, so we played Syphon Filter on the last podcast. I loved it so much I said I would beat it. I did beat it. Really, really fun game, and I loved it so much I immediately went into playing Syphon Filter 2, and it's even better. The whole experience and the story just immediately follows what happened in the first game, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it'd be like maybe years down the line, but the first one ends with Leon is infected with the Syphon Filter virus, which is kind of wacky, and there's a whole level sequence where you gotta find doctors in this very open area with a lot of running, and it's not quite platforming because it's Syphon Filter, but you do have to kind of shimmy and find a bunch of these doctors, and you're all trying to get the vaccine for her, and it's a very Tomb Raider-esque level. It's pretty cool. But you do get to run around quite a lot because you don't really know where to go throughout this facility. So the second one starts out, and it's 2 discs now, and it's much more cinematic. So everything that they wanted to do with the first one, but they didn't have the experience to kind of pull it off, they were able to understand and do everything that they wanted to do in the sequel. So it's much more action, cinematic, James Bond type areas. So for example, there's 2 that really stuck out to me. One was your Gabe Logan on a train that's about to crash. So you're just running up the train, shooting all these dudes, getting through all the sequences, and at the end you're like, well, it's too late. And then your partner with a helicopter just kind of goes, I just jump into it before the train falls off the cliff that exploded. So it's just wackiness there. And another level in Syphon Filter 2 that's really cool is you're running through, like, let's call it the streets of New York, just for simplicity's sake, and it's snowing, and you're just gunning, going in between buildings and stuff. Much of the game is very simple, and it always has a good espionage-type cutscene before and after big sequences, so the story flows very well as well. And the gunplay is still a little flimsy, but because I've already played the first one now, it's kind of second nature with how it works. Just always aim for the head. Yeah, just always aim for the head. They use a lot more hallways in Syphon Filter 2, so you just hide behind the corner, and then you just lean, and you take out enemies that way all the time. It's got a good little government conspiracy plot to it all. It carried over extremely well and better in the second one. Everyone's now out to get Gabe Logan, trying to figure out like who's the mole, what's going on with the agency that you're working for, who's the bad guy. And they even do a couple good, neat little things in the boss fights where you have to. They'd only did it once in the first game, and that was kind of the final boss. In the second one, their version of boss fights, because it's a James Bond game, they're not really boss fights, so they just kind of put a tiny little puzzle into how to beat them, like which particular gun or what do you have to shoot. And how Syphon Filter 2 really nails it home is there's a helicopter, and they do the whole Indiana Jones thing where this guy has like super body armor, so you have to shoot this guy backwards into the helicopter propeller, and it just cuts him up. I was like, wow, that is really cool for like early 2000s. So very, very good franchise. I still can't speak enough about it. I've loved the first two so much. I know we've played the third one on the podcast, but I didn't really get it at the time. I didn't have the first two under my belts, didn't have the context. That's kind of why sequels and threequels and whatever you want to call it don't really do as well as the others if they're kind of connected. And I know a little bit more about the story now. I know a lot more about the controls, and I'm just way into the series, so I'm definitely going to be playing Syphon Filter 3, and then I'll probably, depending on how I feel, I might get burned out, but it definitely wants me to play. I definitely get the itch to play like a Tomb Raider game as well, and we're going to talk about a game on the podcast here where Syphon Filter is basically based off it, or the inspiration to try to compete in that same landscape of type of game. So Tomb Raider, Syphon Filter 3, that's kind of like in my mindset currently, rather than going back to an RPG or anything. So very fun 2 games that I beat in the last couple weeks. And they're not very long once you kind of get the feel of what the game wants you to do. Because one thing you'll find yourself doing is kind of running around areas not knowing, like, oh, I have to shoot out this window and jump into it, or there's a guardrail to jump on. There's no kind of indication that you need to go these directions. However, once you kind of understand the concept of how the game wants you to run around and platform to get to areas, much like in a Tomb Raider sense, Syphon Filter 2 definitely gives you a better direction of where you need to go that the first one lacked. So it's a very good example of the sequel did everything the first one did, and then improved and added a lot more content that makes sense for the game. I can't speak highly enough over how I've experienced the Syphon Filter series so far. That's what I've been doing.
I need to play more of those. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, third person run and gun, wacky little run sequence. I really like the idea of the flak jacket system, where if an enemy shoots you long enough, it destroys your then it starts to destroy your flak jacket, and then that's when it takes away your health. So you can kind of get gunned down by enemies, but you don't immediately die. It always gives you an opportunity to kind of roll away. The first one just kind of got through that with its very janky AI not being able to shoot you properly because the frames weren't there. The second one definitely improved that, and then just kind of you can definitely feel that you have a lot more health because you are getting hit this time around. So they fixed that in the second one. That's funny. All right. Anybody else?
I think you covered us all.
Covered it all. Okay.
Oh wait,
No.
wait. Did I say things? I don't remember if I said things. I don't know.
I don't think you did.
I don't think you did,
Oh,
Kevin.
You passed the buck on to me.
That's right. We were talking before the podcast. All right. Well, I'll keep it short and simple. Number one, I'm a Fortnite whore now.
A Fortnite whore? Oh no, that's why your Twitch stream's going up.
Well, like, believe it or not, most of my audience fucking hates it. And it was a meme for a while. I was playing Tales of Vesperia, and like I think every stream the second half ended up being Fortnite because my friend would ask me to play, and I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, why not? I love that game. I get people hate it. I get if you don't like it because you don't like it, but what I really hate is people who are like, is Fortnite even relevant anymore? Like, come on. I'm like, yeah, no, it's only the most popular game in the world right now. Definitely not relevant.
Still
Or
is,
like,
yeah.
Actually,
like when
surprisingly, it is not the most popular game in the world right now.
What is
Free
it, Joey?
Fire is.
Oh, wait, Free Fire? I have that on my phone. I'm actually playing that.
Yeah, that actually has the largest player base right now.
I thought I was playing bots. I'm like, who's playing this random BR mobile battle
Well,
royale?
it's
really
super
cool.
popular in Brazil and India, and China, I think. Well,
I've heard there's a lot of people in
best
those
American.
countries.
and
There are a
they
lot of
mostly all play on mobile phone. So
Oh, so I'm not playing bots. That makes me feel good. Other than that, so Fortnite's been fun. Now I'm playing Saints Row the Third, which is, I would even argue, better than GTA 5, because it's just dumb and hilarious, and there's a big flopping purple dildo called the Penetrator, which GTA 5 doesn't have. So there's that. I've made it my mission to kill all the furries in the game when I see them, because why not? And I'm almost done with it. I think after that, I'm going to play Quake for the old Xbox.
Ooh.
It's on
Nice.
Game Pass now, so I'm going to try it and see if I like it. And
I've
then
never
Free
played
Fire.
Fortnite. I just don't think I would like it because I don't want to build and shoot.
No, I
people
don't
in
build.
the same thing.
I don't build. I think if there was a Fortnite no building mode, it'd probably be a lot more popular. But
I
get
probably would
it's like-
play it. I just don't want to build things. I don't want to think about building.
yeah, I don't, and I've won enough games where I'm like, okay, I can live without building. Which is why I tried Apex, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'd like that more. But I hate that you have to be in a group because I don't know. I just don't trust random people sometimes, and some people help, some people don't.
You can solo drop now, just not in competitive.
Yeah, I don't care if it's competitive or not. I'm just playing to play. Warzone is like my least favorite battle royale. It just seems really hacked and open. So that one I would not recommend. But people love it, so what do I know?
I liked it. It was just too big. I had to remove it from my computer.
Yeah, in that it's like way too big. I have a 5 terabyte external hard drive on my Series S, and it was pretty much a Warzone hard drive. So that be that.
That be that. All right. I will play the couple drops, and we'll get into the classics. Here we go. Yes, indeed. Time for the classics, Joey. Just for the audience's sake. What is our podcast rule, and how did you come up with this topic, this theme today?
The theme was a classic. I mean, I left it vague so everyone could choose, but they considered it a classic game. So something that was good, something from the past, something that you enjoyed, something that everyone should really know the name of. And I would suspect most of the listeners have probably played all, if not most of the games we have.
Yeah, for sure, especially with the audience we have. And just to reiterate, a game must be 15 years old, at least from today's date. That is how we, that is our kind of hard set rule for it all. And believe it or not, Kevin, the PS3 is retro.
Fucking finally, God.
As of next year.
Except the
Wait,
damn
next
thing.
year? I thought it was this year.
It's 2007 it came out.
No, 6, I thought.
Really?
Hold
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
That was
PS3
Xbox
release
360, I'm sure.
No, that was 2005. PS3
2000,
release
yeah.
date, November 11, 2006.
Shows what I know.
We've done it. We've done it. It's retro.
We've done it.
The first system with an HDMI port. Well, I guess Xbox. But you get it.
You got it. Yay. So we'll get there. We'll have to bring you on a couple more episodes, Kevin, every once in a while.
Let me talk about Killzone, please. Let me talk about Killzone all the time.
We'll get you for a first-person shooter episode or third-person or just a shooter.
I have a Killzone tattoo. People need to love this game.
Hey, dude, I love Killzone. I mean, you could have picked Killzone at any time with the PS2 games.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest. I love Killzone 2. Did not age well. I'm actually thinking when we were talking about me looking at the PSNL library, I saw Killzone HD on there, and I thought about it. Like maybe that's a good stream just to try out PSNL.
I never did play the Killzone portables or the PS4 one.
The Vita one is really good. It plays a lot like 2. The PSP one is like a top-down shooter. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It is. But
Also, the Resistance, or your first Resistance game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
That is something I'm dying to play for the podcast.
Well, as of November 14th, you will be able to.
Hell yeah, mark it down. So we can do we can do a Killzone game and a Resistance game and a Halo game. There's no Gears of War. That's what we want to do. Gears of War, Resistance, and Killzone. I think those are 3 games.
Those. I'm on Gears of War 3 right now with a buddy of mine.
That sounds like a really fun kind of trio topic. Change things up a bit. I think that sounds like something we could do.
The Shooter Bro episode, eh?
Shooter Bro. I kind of like that. Go write that down. Shooter Bro episode. Theme is Shooter Bros. Okay.
Or Dude Bro, whichever.
Shooter Dude Bro.
Shooter Dude Bro episode, bro. The Brocast. You should call it the Brocast.
No, that's a different podcast. We don't talk about that one.
Oh, sorry.
That's Brocast.
No, that's all of us moving to California and learning to be douchebags.
I mean, I've learned as I got older that it is not California specific anymore.
Okay. What other place would you
saying it is bruh?
Bruh.
Well, I've learned being in construction that a lot of tradesmen are dude bros. Not to call anybody out, but there's a lot of guys that openly talk about cheating on their wives and then get mad when they get caught. And I'm like, you kind of did that to yourself.
I mean, to be honest, that sounds like blue collar work to be in general.
There's a lot of dude bros in blue collar work. Who would have guessed? They're either dude bros or like grizzled old dudes. Who
As
just
someone
really
that's
don't
in
like...
the oil industry, I can confirm this.
So there we go.
All right, classics. Joey, first game.
Classic, the classic game, Super Mario Bros.
Oh my god, I've never heard of this.
Came out in 1985. It was developed by a little-known developer named Nintendo, and published by Nintendo. I don't know if you knew that.
Did not. No one's ever heard of these things.
How pretentious of them to publish their own game.
That's what I'm thinking. And I'm surprised we never played this. We played a lot of the other games, but not this one.
I mean, it's one thing. There's a lot of retro game podcasts out there, and one of the more interesting, I thought, for discussion is to kind of avoid games like these because everyone's played them. Everyone already has their opinion on them. It does I find it more interesting to hear people talk about the lesser known games, but for this episode, it seemed like it'd be an easy choice to do.
While I agree with you, I feel like that because like a lot of people have that mindset, and I very rarely see anyone like reviewing or playing or streaming this game ever. And it's like weird because like why wouldn't people want to stream Super Mario Brothers? Like who wouldn't want to come out and hang out and be like, I remember this game.
And they'd probably have a bunch of people jumping down their throats saying, you missed this secret. You got to go this way to warp.
I believe you didn't know about the warp in 4-2, you fucking scrub.
Fucking scrub. What's that? Okay, I had a question it's Mario Brothers. What more is there to say? I have a question more along the line of what is everyone's kind of nostalgia with the game? If you even have any.
I do. I first played this at my grandma's house when she had an NES, and I didn't even know what I was playing because I was so young. And I remember playing a lot of it, but I more remember the All-Stars version, which I think I played that one first, and I went back and like, why do these graphics suck so bad? Because I'm a dumb kid. And the physics between the two are just so slightly different that like you kind of have to make like little mini adjustments as you play it. And even before that, the most way I played this game was on a jailbroken iPod Touch in like 9th grade, which that is definitely not a way to play Super Mario Brothers, by the way.
The way I played it most was a Flash game version of it in 10th grade.
That's illegal.
Class.
Nintendo going to shut it down.
They probably did. This was like, I don't know how many years ago, probably 15. Probably it's retro now. So that Flash game's retro. But every time you beat
was
it,
this
you
in
would
your
go
stupid
faster.
computer class that you were taking in high school, Joey?
It was one of them, yes.
Yeah.
What was your grade in that class? Just a random question.
An A.
Oh, sure. Okay.
We never really did anything. That was one of the, like, I think that one was multimedia or something. I don't know. We didn't really do shit. It was taught by a coach. Nobody cared. So
was it the football coach or was it the baseball coach?
It was a football coach.
Okay,
I
I know. Yeah. That was a multimedia, and there was another name for it as well.
Yeah,
there's two of them. Yeah.
We made some Flash thing at the end of it that didn't make any sense. But when you beat it, you would go faster, and by the time you were like 3 times around, it was just so fast that you had to like have muscle memory, or you would just shoot off the screen into an enemy. So it was a lot of fun.
Hey.
So
I guess it'd be a good time for my nostalgia. So this was one of the first games I ever owned, ever. I got my
Basic.
NES when I was about 3 years old. Not know it, like just kind of sitting on the couch with my uncle or my mom, and they're just kind of, I'm on their lap, not really know what to do. And then as I got older, I would have these games. I didn't have the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. I had an NES, and this was one of like the 15 games I got in a big box. Years after the NES had already kind of had had its lifespan, and there was nothing, and because there was no internet, and all my friends, they would either talk of their parents having an Atari in their closet, or or they would have the Super Nintendo by now, or the Genesis. So nobody, like, I couldn't say, oh man, how do you beat Super Mario Bros. World 3-2 or whatever. Whatever the level pops into my head this week. So it's funny that years and years down the line, and I'm at 9-10 years old now, and I'm talking about this game to various friends in elementary school and later in junior high. It's like, oh, how did you get past this? And you kind of always find out that everyone ends up kind of playing the same way. You go to the first little underworld, and you're destroying the blocks and then running at the top because you just have this curiosity, can I go up there? And you just keep going all the way to the right, and then there's a warp, and it's just, a game is designed incredibly well when people are kind of drawn to doing the same things and playing kind of the same way and discovering the same things. That's just really good gameplay. And I remember doing like this game, and then Colin, you might have, this is just kind of a side topic, but even in Canada when I was there and I was explaining kind of how I'd play Blades of Steel, and some of the Canadians I would talk to would be like, oh, you played kind of the Gradius thing in the game, and they go, but you grew up in Texas. It's like, well, yeah, I traded Legend of Zelda in for Blades of Steel because I didn't know what to do in Legend of Zelda when I was like 4 years old.
Hurts. Oh, that hurts my
Look,
soul.
man, when you're 4, Legend of Zelda makes no sense.
I'm not saying you're wrong. It just hurts.
Hockey makes a lot more sense. Hit the thing. That's it. But yeah, with Super Mario Bros, it's and it's just the slight slide to the character is super annoying, and it gets more annoying the older you get because now you're like you're sentient of its flaw. And in my experience, like I never I never beat the game because I would either go to the warp worlds, and by that time I wasn't good enough to be able to beat the worlds that it would warp me to. So then I would try to beat the games in order and try to gradually get my way up, but then I'd lose too many lives. So it's a game heavy with nostalgia for me. Never did play the arcade version, believe it or not.
I think this game is easy to be good, but really hard to master.
Yeah, that's a good way to do categorize that. Yeah.
Because there is a level in the final world where you can just hop bomb to bomb and just get pretty much unlimited lives.
Oh, really?
It's one of those tank levels. They shoot the cannonballs at you or whatever, or the little missile things, whatever the hell they're called. You can jump you can jump from 1 to 1 and time it perfectly if you know what you're doing, and pretty much go through the whole level that way. And after 10 hits, it's 1 life each time you jump on one.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But that's like a skill that I can't even fucking do. No matter how many times I play it, it's just like it's too hard. But there's people out there just do it, speed run it. They bounce all around, call it a day.
I think it's.
Did anyone try to go to the minus world?
Minus world?
I'm not
heard of it, but haven't.
Yeah, I can't get the glitch to work. Yeah, there's a way to glitch in 4.2 on the final tunnel. Instead of going up, you have to like break 2 bricks and you have to jump in a certain way, and you catch on an invisible, level, and you can just walk through to the warp tunnels. But one of them says -1 and is an unbeatable level.
Yeah, I think it's an unfinished level that they couldn't wipe from the code or something.
I think it's just how the memory in the game is, because each level I think is like a block in how it's set up. So yeah, it's just weird.
Holy crap! This is the first I've ever heard of this.
Look it up. Look at Super Mario Brothers.
I'm looking at it right now. This is wild.
Minus level.
Yeah, they even referenced it in Super Mario Bros. Z, that online Flash series.
Not familiar with that either.
Dude, I fucking showed it to you.
I have forgotten. Clearly.
God damn it.
Memories, yay.
It's being rebooted, by the way, by the same guy.
Oh, how about that?
And it's even more kick-ass this time around.
All right, Kevin, putting you on the spot. Have you ever beaten this game without a save state?
Without a save state, yes.
You
before
have?
I even... Yeah, without emulators and stuff, when I actually had the patience to like sit down and beat it and actually try to put effort into beating Super Mario. Now it's just gotten to the point where like I have to actively try not to use the warps. Like I feel like every time I play it,
I think there's worlds I've never even touched.
Yeah, that I feel like I haven't seen some levels in this game because I'm so used to being like, okay, go to 1-2, then I go to 1-2, then I get to World 4, get to 4-2, warp to 8, and then boom. But
honestly, I don't think I've ever been in World 7.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. It's a tough game if you play it all the way through in every level, but I think we're just also used to warp, and you're like, oh, Mario's not that bad. You know?
Yeah, for me personally, I can't say I played as much of this one growing up as everyone else. I mean, I played it at a friend's house whenever I was over. Never could get past World 1. We were always kind of switching between games at the time, and I couldn't figure out how to get past King Koopa. But fun playing it again. Gives me a big rush of nostalgia, like meeting up with an old friend. But at the time I was more into Super Mario Land because that was on Game Boy, and I had way more access to one of those.
Yes, your Game Boy. Haha.
My boy.
Super Mario Bros. How much does one of these suckers go for on the NES? Let's see.
Play it. You don't even have to go right to the NES, you know?
Yeah, those cartridges, even to this day, are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much a dime a dozen. Let's see here.
NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Switch Shop. Probably some way.
Let's see here.
Animal Crossing, if you hack the game.
Here we go. Famicom Disk System, the one we were all wondering. About $25.
Okay. Cool. Let's get one that normal people have.
I don't know. I have this weird fascination lately with the Famicom Disk System. Like its existence, the games on it, what makes them different.
Is that your new 3DO?
No, well, I mean, could be.
The difference is the Famicom would actually have good games on it. It's just they're in Japanese.
Colin, are you implying the 3DO doesn't have any good games on it?
You
I won't imply it, but I'm just going to straight out say the 3DO doesn't have any good games on it.
Come on, you passed at least one.
Because it was okay. I forget what was the game, and it was barely even a gamey type thing. What was the category? I forget what it was.
I think it was the last episode. No, it was cinematic. I think it was Flashback on the 3DO.
I thought
Flashback was on 3DO?
Flashback is on 3DO, yes.
But it's not an exclusive.
So, what's your point? Captain Quasar? Did we pass that? No, probably not.
Means I could play that game anywhere else that isn't a 3DO? Awesome.
I think I may have passed it.
Maybe it was Crash and Burn?
No, impossible. I think you gave it an F, Joey. Or Colin gave it an F?
Probably.
Is it that one with like the helicopter on your back? You were flying around blowing shit up?
No. No, I don't think so. Colin? Maybe it was that one. I don't. No, it couldn't have been that one. No.
Well, I know you passed that one.
Well, I pass a lot of things. Kevin, it's like you never left. The 3DO is still a thing.
This was the main reason I left. Let me tell you. Okay. No.
He actually went a long while without getting one, and then he realized it, and he brought it back.
Did a CD? I was going to say CDI. Did the 3DO break? Is that why?
No, we just kept picking themes where the 3DO didn't have a game that fit it.
Actively making an effort to make sure it didn't get brought up.
And we've kind of already covered most of the games at this point.
How many games are on the 3D?
I don't know, like 60 or something. We've played 30 of them. I don't know. We've played a good chunk of them. It's quite funny.
Much to our dismay.
Oh, it's great. Okay, let's keep moving here. Next, we all passed Super Mario Bros. I'm not even gonna ask. Next one, Joey.
I thought it was a shit game. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. Super Mario Bros. Old slidey shit. Whatever.
Next game is Goldeneye 007 for the N64, developed by Rare, published by those Nintendo guys again, and released in 1997. Oh man, I used to love this game, but it sucks.
Oh,
it's so bad.
Preach! Fuck this game.
I remember playing it so much and enjoying it all the time, and I just can't get past the controls now. They're so shit.
It's trash.
It is. And I didn't believe him. I was talking about this, and one of my friends is like, "Go play it. It's terrible." I was like, "No, it's great. I remember playing it well," and he was right. It's one of the worst games I played in a while.
My biggest gripe with this game is a personal thing. Is people still I see the fucking old borderline boomer memes on the old Facebooks and Twitters you kids in Call of Duty and your updates. I popped this right in my N64 and it works. No updates and it's still more fun. I'm like, this isn't even the best fucking shooter on the N64. It's not even close to the best of all time.
This I have memory of at Joey's house. Hey, I remember when I first went over. Hey, are we gonna play Goldeneye? And you go, fuck that. We're playing the other one. Shit. What was it called, Joey?
Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark. Yeah. No, and that's all we'd play.
Yeah, it was the updated version of it. It's pretty much the same levels.
I mean, it's a better game. People this game right here, when people say this is still the greatest shooter of all time, is the definition of nostalgia poisoning. It's not that good. It's fine. It was great for the time, and the only people that know how to play this game are the ones that grew up with it. If you give this to anybody who never had one growing up, they'll be like, "What the fuck is this controller?"
Good luck trying to aim. But yeah, I would put this in greatest of all time list, but it's just not replayable. At the time, it was great. It was huge. Yeah. It was big for the industry and big for first-person shooters, but just not worth it anymore.
it's got issues.
So obviously the multiplayer is where the game is at its strongest points. Doing various settings, very much like a Super Smash Bros. Type set in an arena type deal, except with now weaponry and gadgets. Obviously, I think every household at one point had the rule of no one can be odd job unless we're all odd job.
Right.
Yeah, I had a friend who chose no one but odd job. It was really annoying.
So that friend isn't your friend anymore, I assume.
We drifted apart.
It was based off of Odd Job and Goldeneye experiences. We just couldn't be friends anymore, but we couldn't officially break up. It was just drift away. But yeah, like as a PlayStation owner, I would only ever play Goldeneye when I'd go over to friends' houses. Joey is one of them, but by the time we met, the kind of Goldeneye, I guess, stage was past. But if the N64 was ever booted up, it was always Perfect Dark. And I believe your younger brother had the GameCube, right, Joey?
Yeah, we had GameCube.
Yeah, and then he would put on if we're playing a shooter on there, it was one of the GoldenEyes on the GameCube that would get played. Yeah.
For the Bond games.
Yeah.
The GameCube didn't really have any good first-person shooters.
Well, I mean, like
they had some, but I mean,
yeah, it was like Tomorrow Never Dies or nothing kind of situation. I think that's right. So, anyways, what we're talking about is the floaty kind of garbage first-person controls that does not age well at all because you only have the one stick, and if you ever want to go into kind of a first-person mode, you end up having to hit. I think it's what was it Z, and then you float around the controller and you're not able to move anymore. And
if you hold R,
yeah.
R is the main thing.
Right. Yeah, it was R.
There is a little bit of aim assist because I noticed if the enemy's ducking down, the game will point down for you.
Yeah.
That's why I just ended up strafing and just hoping aim assist would help.
Yeah.
That's the thing. As a kid, I never knew the C buttons allowed you to strafe.
Yes.
That would have been really helpful in some firefights.
Yeah, it's just not good, man. I can play this game via muscle memory, but that is it. Like I am so confident that people that pick up this game for the first time will not have any idea how to play it. It doesn't play well. It's bad. And honestly, after Secret Agent is doable, but 00 Agent is the most bullshit cheap difficulty in any game ever. It's unbeatable. I'm convinced. And that's not even from like the controls suck. It's just these goals are fucking dumb.
So what's interesting, when I booted this back up, I wanted to check out the story mode. Right. And it's so much shorter than you remember. Mm-hmm. These stages are like 5 minutes long, and there's 25 of them? Yeah. So, as a kid, it's not exactly clear of what you're supposed to do, because there's like wacky gadgets and stuff you have to... and when I say kid, you're 7 years old playing this, or whatever. And you're just kind of going through, and it's like, oh, you have to specifically go to this one thing, lay this one bomb down, and then go away, activate the bomb with the watch, and for a 7-year-old, that's really complicated. Well, who are the people that were playing this game mostly? It was like 7 to 13-year-olds back then, at least in my experience. And we all only would play the multiplayer, and it gave me like heavy Red Faction vibes later that we would experience, Joey.
Red Faction 2.
Yeah. And that franchise was built off of this GoldenEye multiplayer formula. And even the story mode, to an extent, is kind of like that. But I was super shocked about how kind of straightforward, linear, and plain the story mode was. And they only last like 5 to 10 minutes of each stage. I'm like, man, it's not how I remember it at all. But then I'd get to certain areas and I go, oh, okay, I remember like what to do in this area. And it all kind of flooded back. And for someone that didn't have an N64 growing up, it's kind of telling how much we played this as kids.
I mean, I don't know how much of this as kids you guys played, but it was literally a rule in my house that like we had to play Goldeneye like to settle every decision as kids.
Oh, really? It was
Yeah, my brother loved this game, and it got to a point where like he was so good at it, and we were so little that he would obviously destroy us. But then it got to a point where we were like getting old enough to like understand what was going on, and then he started losing, and suddenly we stopped playing Goldeneye. It was crazy.
Oh, weird how that works out.
Yeah, wild.
I remember my first experiences kind of playing this at friends' houses, and they would just destroy me because they would, of course, screen look, know exactly where I am. I have no idea where I'm going. And then they would just converge and just kill me over and over again in multiplayer mode, or just lay down bombs or mines, and you just don't know where they are because the game doesn't make it very obvious where they ever are.
The game's all about screen looking.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing you do. And then you claim you never did it. I didn't
No,
screen look.
I didn't screen look.
And then I like trying to make the game lag out with mines.
Yeah, that's fun actually. I do like doing that. I used to put so many mines on a wall. I'd just watch the sprites like come off the wall, and I'd make like a straight line across the room. And then I'd shoot them once and watch the whole game chug.
So I spoke a lot about. Sorry, Colin. I'll just say one more thing and then you can go. So I played both Syphon Filter games, 1 and 2. The games are clearly based off this one, and I gotta say, I really prefer third person going into the first person mode, and the way that Syphon Filter is able to overcome the reticle that you got to do is you're equipped with guns that has like 1,000,000 bullets, and you can just strafe the reticle, and once you hit the head once, it's over. Or you're just going to pound them with bullets in the body, and then they'll eventually die. So the difficulty is equalized in that sense. While in Goldeneye, it's just spray and spam the bullets, and it seemingly never changes over the years either. Because when I was experiencing going through the story mode, it was just strafe and shoot, strafe and shoot, strafe and shoot. I'm at the end, hey, no problem. Or get the sniper and then just shoot him a couple times from a heavy distance. And there's just never, unless you, like you said, Kevin, earlier, unless you put it on that stupid, crazy high difficulty where it just thousands of enemies start showing up and the game can't. It has a much tougher time keeping up. It's impossible.
It's dumb. I only play this on Agent really because I just run through and shoot people and I'm done.
All right, Colin. I'm sorry I interrupted you like 4 times. You can go.
Yeah, I played this one a lot with my siblings whenever we were at a family gathering with my aunt, uncle, and cousins who had an N64, and other times play with friends. It was just one of those games everyone with an N64 had at the time. And I remember liking it a lot, but less for the multiplayer and more for the single player. That's just the kind of gamer I was, and still am, really. And we've said, everybody's talked a lot of shit about the game, but I want to point out a few things that have held up about it. Like, I like the music, for one thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The music is still great.
It is a banger. I'll give it that.
Yeah. And another thing, it's one of the things that continued into games like Perfect Dark and Time Splitters 2, is that with each difficulty level, or as the difficulty gets higher, there's more objectives in each level.
Yeah, that is a cool feature that I wish more games would have.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't more games do that? Creates more replay value. And it's just a small detail, but it's a nice little link to James Bond in general, is that every time you die, you get the blood flowing down the screen, like in the movie intros.
Very cool. I agree.
I do like that.
So this game has actually dropped in price quite a bit, because there was a time where Goldeneye was like going for $60 on average, $40 to $60. Now it goes for like 15 to 20. So now's
everyone has woken up and realized the game sucks.
There are a lot of things in this game that like nobody seems to talk about. So if you ever use the all guns cheat, Like there's things like a silver PP7 and like a taser. It actually looks like a Game Boy. I think they call it the Taser Boy or something. And there's all these weapons that are in the game that you can't get, as far as I know, naturally through playing it. And it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a bonus, maybe it's not. But like, if you ever try the all gun sheet one day, and you'll be like, "Wow, there's so many guns that I never even knew were in the game."
Well,
Yeah,
nothing will replace the Syphon Filter taser, where you can light people on fire.
As real tasers do.
Yeah, real tasers light people on fire, makes them combust through electricity.
Yeah, that's another thing in the multiplayer. There's all these guns that came straight from the movies, like the Golden Gun and the Moonraker laser. That's nice little callbacks. Nice little fan service for James Bond fans.
Okay, big question. Do we take off the nostalgia glasses hard?
I had them on.
Okay, pass or fail, guys.
I fail it.
Fuck it.
Colin?
Soft pass.
Oh, okay. Do I tie it or no? I fail it.
It has problems, but I still think it's kind of fun. But maybe I'll have to see when my nephews are of a certain age, see how they feel about it when they play it.
Well, all right. We'll have to get back.
My one nephew is already old enough to play Minecraft.
I would like to know that because I genuinely want to know the opinion of somebody who's never played an N64 before, never played GoldenEye, and to just give the controller like we did and go, here, figure it out. Like, I don't think it'll happen ever again. The N64 is a weird point in time where, like, the whole left of that controller is worthless. You know?
Well, the weird thing about, and I actually got a couple messages recently from some new listeners that popped in, and they went through our game list over on Red Leaf Retrocast, blogspot.com, and they realized that we don't play a lot of N64 games for this podcast.
That's why it's a great podcast.
they did get a kick out of all the 3DO games we played, but they were really adamant about us trying to get more N64 games to cover. And just go, well, there was only like 100 games that kind of came out on the N64. And
didn't we already play all the good ones?
No, and yes. I'll have to kind of go through the list, but it got me, I've noticed this multiple times that we go like, I think we went like a year at one point without picking a single N64 game. It just doesn't, there's just not enough, I guess, variety on the system. I mean, there's some very good classic games on there that we've played, we've really liked. Just more games came out on other consoles,
but are there any really good, just exclusive? Because I think a lot of the time, if a game was good, it probably was on the PlayStation as well.
Well, I mean, there was a solid like 20, 25 N64 exclusive games, and they just didn't. They didn't have a lot of third party. I don't think the N64 did, which kind of hurt them in the later years.
Yeah, a lot of their best ones were the first party, like Star Fox 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario 64.
I think we played Mario 64.
No, I don't think we have.
No?
Oh, I recently played that. Don't worry. Doesn't hold up either.
Oh, I think that one does.
I played it on the Switch recently. Well, maybe I will give it this, that maybe N64 games were solely made for that system.
Oh, you don't say.
And well, that's its detriment. But like a lot of things can't be fixed. Like the Mario 64's camera is really fucking bad, and it moves on its own. So like you'll be walking, and then I jump, and then the camera goes, "Oh, you're going straight. What if it's straight, and I turn you right now? Oh, you died. Look at that." So
yeah, I can't argue with that.
My game. So for classic, I was thinking we gotta put in an Atari game for a classic, and for some reason, Pitfall came into my mind. And it's one of those Atari games. It's not Pac-Man. It's not what are some others? I'm looking at my stack over here. It's not Centipede. Anyways, the point being is Pitfall is regarded as a classic game. Like incredible. It's the original platformer, you could say. And why was it kind of stuck to this time? Like you don't hear like, oh, Pitfall on the Super Nintendo, holy shit, game of the year contender, and it's one of the best selling games ever made.
I forget there's a Pitfall on Super Nintendo.
Right, but you don't hear about those things. It's like, what made Pitfall so special to be so highly regarded of its time? And it's developed and published by Activision, came out in 1982, so we're going way back. Definitely older than 15 years old.
Is that retro?
It definitely qualifies. It just makes
okay,
it.
cool.
Yeah. But your character is Pitfall Harry. You have to collect all the treasures in a jungle within a 20-minute time limit, which is something I just never even came into my mind, because I've played this a lot. I've played Pitfall to death, and for some reason, so much time has gone by, I just didn't even notice that there was a 20-minute time limit. Mostly because I think I die before that each time.
Yeah. I don't think I even got close to lasting 20 minutes.
Nah, and I believe there's 30 treasures or something that you got to get. I always get 15, and then I'm dead. The other thing is, when I was a kid playing this at my uncle's house, because he's the one that had the Atari. I'm sorry. Let me start over. I played at his place. He'd had Pitfall. I'd put it in, and I, as a kid, always thought it was just a loop of the same three things over and over again. Pit, lake with crocodiles, down below is the scorpion or the snake, and then avoid the fire and logs. And it just kind of rinse and repeats over and over again. And for the most part, it absolutely does do that. I thought it was just getting points. That's all you were doing. This is a much older game, obviously. I'm wondering what you guys' experience with Pitfall is exactly.
I don't really play games pre-NES because they're fucking boring, if I'm being honest. And
It's a generation before you.
Well, it's a generation before me, but I get why there were a lot of serial killers in the 70s, because clearly people had nothing fucking better to do. The video games were no help. But I had this on an Activision, I think, plug and play back in the day. And I played it on there. It was fine, but it did not hold my attention. And sure, that could be an age thing, and everyone's like, oh, you're too young, you don't understand. Well, I understand I'm not having fun. So, but I get why it's, popular and why it was great for the time, but Pitfall never really made that jump like we were saying. There's an NES one too, I remember. And none of them are particularly very good. I think it was another flash in the pan thing.
So here's the follow-up question. Has anyone ever played Pitfall 2 on the Atari?
No, because I don't hate myself.
Isn't that strange? Because if I say, okay, have you ever played Donkey Kong Jr. or another Donkey Kong, another super classic game I thought about picking for this podcast episode, I'll save that for another day. You can say, oh yeah, I've played another Donkey Kong game and it's amazing. I've played another Mario game and it's amazing. I've played, you get the idea. Even the sequel to one of the greatest selling games of all time. You ask someone, have you played Pitfall 2? And you go, there was 2?
Well, because I think they're so similar. This is a time when, you can almost tell, just even looking at the label of the box, that this is pretty much more of the same. So, I mean, there's no
they just added a couple layers on the screen, and then
there's no story. It's not like I'm getting some deep narrative. So, that is that.
I do remember playing this on the Commodore 64 way back when.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Hey, we played a lot of Commodore 64 at the time. We didn't have a PC yet. But I do not remember there being a Tarzan yell whenever swinging on the vines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of funny. I'll give it that.
Yeah, got a bit annoying after a while, though. And
I just like jumping into the alligator mouth.
Oh, were you just sink down?
Yep, you just disappear into the mouth.
Just like real alligators. That's how it works.
This really gets me curious too, because I've never played Pitfall 2. I'm curious of the differences and the expansions on it. I'm looking at the Sega Genesis Super Nintendo Pitfall game. It's called the Mayan Adventure. It is in the same vein as the Disney games, Disney platformers, Aladdin, Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
It looks like the same, right?
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay. All right then. Never mind.
But anyways,
Yeah, I mean, the game's fairly responsive. For an Atari game, that's pretty impressive for the time. And the visuals are pretty decent for the time. Took me a while to figure out that to let go of vines, you have to hit down on the joystick.
yeah, it took me a while as well. I just kept swinging.
Yeah, I was like, how can I jump off?
I kept hitting the button. I was like, oh, nothing's happening.
I like how you can go to the log on the first part and just watch your points just decrease for just standing on it.
Yeah, because you're dying.
But the log isn't moving, so why is it hurting me?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, you guys said not a lot of people talk about it, but there was an episode of South Park that referenced the game. Where
Oh yeah.
The priest is at the Vatican trying to find the holy document of Vatican law, and then has to go through a whole Atari Pitfall sequence to get there. It was pretty funny. But I passed this one.
I mean, I'll pass Pitfall. It's very simplistic. It's the original platformer. I think you can make some fun drinking games out of this sucker. Might be worth a try.
Well, so here's my moral question now. If we're failing Goldeneye because it was great for the time and doesn't hold up anymore, are we...
Well, the thing is, this still holds up in its intention.
Okay, fair. I mean, I'm bored by it, but I could pass it.
I passed it because I didn't even download a ROM. I just played it on web browser. So
good old Atari games, super simple.
yeah, it's just something you load up a website and play when you're bored. So I mean, it's not the greatest game ever, but it still does what it's supposed to do, and you can still beat it. So I'm gonna give it a soft pass.
All right, speeding things up. Colin, your pick.
Yes. Mine is Mega Man on the NES.
The original.
Yes. Developed and published by Capcom. Released on the NES on December 17th, 1987. And for those who don't know, Mega Man is known as Rockman in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And
because he's made out of rocks, right?
Just rock and roll.
Ah, boo.
I mean, in the English version, Mega Man's real name is Rock, and his sister is named Roll. Get it?
No, not at all.
Is the dog's name And?
Ha!
I don't know.
That one got me.
Bad jokes. Bad jokes.
No, that one got me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny
No,
enough,
his name is Bass, like the fish.
Yes. Or is it based?
Yeah, funny enough, this game got critical praise when it came out, but didn't sell very well. Mega Man 2, on the other hand, ended up being the best-selling game of the series. Go figure.
Well, yes, I can understand why, though.
Okay, do tell.
I'm supposed to elaborate. I don't want to ruin Colin's flow. This game is stupid cheap, like in difficulty. I love Mega Man, but I could see how you have to play this game over and over and over to kind of know what's coming up. And I feel like that was like a detriment to it, but I can almost envision somebody going over their friend's house playing Mega Man being like, hey, this is kind of cool, but it's a little cheap, and they're like, oh, yeah, it was fun, I'll play it. And then they see like an ad for Mega Man 2, which is highly regarded as like the best in the series. So I feel like it had a good base, and then Mega Man 2 just really capitalized on everything.
Had a good base.
Did you know the development team for this game consisted of only 6 people?
No.
There you go.
I mean, that's kind of par for the course of the time frame, though.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there was a lot of dev teams that consisted of just small teams, even in the West. And
That's fair.
apparently, Mega Man's character design was inspired by Astro Boy,
Yep.
which makes
Believe
sense.
that. Makes sense, yep.
Yep.
And the gameplay itself was inspired by Rock, Paper, Scissors. I guess that's why they called it Rockman at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because
Why
each
not
weapon you
Junkin'
get from each weapon you get from a robot master does a great deal of damage to another master, while others do very little, and there's no weapon greater than the others. And the name change from Rockman to Mega Man for Western audiences was the decision of Joseph Morisi, the then vice president of Capcom, because he flat out said the title was horrible. And on top of that,
I wonder if they got the rock paper scissors inspiration from Alex Kidd, because
No,
that's a whole
they did
game based
not.
off of rock paper scissors, and it
That's
came out a year
literal
prior.
I doubt it.
Scissors.
Yeah, it's literally rock paper scissors, and you just kind of go, "Oh, that's an interesting concept." Yeah, probably not. Just spitballing.
Yeah,
You must
so
take yoga because you're stretching for that one.
yeah.
Should do more
As I've
yoga.
stated in previous casts, I'm not really a Mega Man fan, but there's no denying the series' popularity or the impact it's had on video game culture.
True.
Plus, it's a relatively short game, even if it's hard as balls.
Also true.
And on top of that, not once have we covered an NES Mega Man game to date. It's always
Really?
been Mega Man X and forward.
Really? No, we played Game Boy ones, didn't we?
I don't think so.
Wanted to
Oh,
recommend the Game Boy one. That's why.
Well, there was Mega Man Xtreme too,
that's the one we played. Yeah.
but no NES ones.
Wow. Okay, cool. So we got a lot more to choose from here. Okay. I tried to beat this game. I really did. The final level. This is where all most Mega Man games just really get me, and why I rarely ever beat them. There's always a gauntlet of all the bosses at the end of these games before you even get to Wily. This one, it has an entire platform level where there's hidden. So after you beat all the bosses, we'll get to the bosses a little later. I'm just kind of skipping to the end experience already, but the final Wily level, there's half the bosses through a platform stage that loops, and right before you go down into the section where the boss is, to the far right of this top ceiling area is where you can kind of replenish your weaponry, because in Mega Man games that you have your life peg dispensers, and then you have your weapon peg dispensers. Well, unfortunately, this is kind of one of my first experiences with the original Mega Man game, and when you're trying to leap to get those, there's hidden what's the word I'm looking for? You'll just drop down, and you have no way of knowing that you will drop down. It just looks like a solid platform.
Yep.
So you're not able to replenish. You have no idea where they are, and they're purposely put in spots where you're going to fail the first time. So that's cheap. So that was frustration one. Was learning each one, and I had to write it down, going, okay, it was it's square 2 of 8 or whatever. So you get through that frustration, and then you get to the final 4 or 3, however many there are, gauntlet. So that's two separate gauntlet areas. And the second one is very, very cheap, and it's put in a way where the boss is going to hit you with its strongest attacks, and there's basically nothing you can do about it. And what I mean by this is you go through, I think it's Cutman first, he's kind of easy, and then you warp to the level above him, which has Bomb Man, who always is going to hit you no matter what, basically. I think I have this order right. And then there's, I think, Elec Man. No, it's a Fireman, the dude with the little lava beams. And the last one is I think it's Guts Man, where he throws the giant blocks at you. And as soon as you come out of the warp, and those blocks do, I think, 4 pegs of damage. And there wasn't a single time I was able to get to Gutsman in which I didn't have more than like 4 or 5 or 6 pegs of life. And I would just get there, he'd throw a block, and I'm dead, no matter what. And because Fireman's beams are impossible to dodge, and all it takes is 1 or 2 hits, and you've already like lost half your health, unfortunately. And why this is a problem is because after you defeat these bosses, unlike later Mega Man games, there's no life replenish balls that you can get. So
you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, you're just stuck there, and it's impossible. It feels like it's an impossibility to even get to the final boss. And then after you even go through those bosses, you then, as I looked up on a video, then you fight Wily, and of course he's an asshole. So good luck.
Yeah.
So besides that kind of last gauntlet stage, which I thought was incredibly cheap, poor designed, with that particular difficulty level, all the stages before that I thought were really fun. The platform upgrade that is incredibly necessary is also kind of game breaking at the same time, and it causes a lot of the game to bug out and frame rate in certain areas just dies. So that's really funny. And besides, I think it's Gutsman, I didn't really have the worst problem facing a lot of the bosses once I figured out which ability I needed to beat him. I started with Cutman as the first and kind of went from there in the rock, paper, scissors thing that Mega Man games are known for. Okay, so that's my spiel. Kevin, you are very familiar with Mega Man games. What's your take on these?
If you're going to play any Mega Man game, I would not tell you to start with this one. For the reasons we discussed, it's very cheap. You do have to know what you're doing. The gameplay, like, I don't want to say, how do I word it? There's a lot of cheapness really going on. It's not perfected. I would actually tell people start with either 2 or 3 and then come back to this one later. It kind of felt like a tech demo for what would be Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
Even like when you get to the Wily Castle, the infamous Yellow Devil thing, the only way I know how to beat that is doing the Electman glitch and damaging him that way, which is nice unless you played it on the PS2 collection like I did, and pausing's a little more difficult because you have to time it a little differently. But Mega Man is a series that like you have to like kind of be grizzled into and like know how it works. And if you're gonna try it, I would tell you get a modern collection where there's save states and like checkpoint things. So then you can make it work, but this is not the Mega Man to start with. If we're going on like the straight pass or fail, in some ways I'd fail it because it's definitely not the best Mega Man, but it was also their first try. And I could see this absolutely turning people off to the series.
Colin, what you got? Since this was your pick, did you have like major nostalgia with this game?
Particularly, I do remember playing Mega Man 3 at a friend's house at one point, playing the Snake Man stage. But aside from that, not particularly. I mean, I completely forgot you have unlimited continues in this game. You just have your score go back down to 0 when you do. But yeah, like Kevin said, save states are a lifesaver with this game. Because you can't save this game. It's one of those games you have to beat in one sitting if you want to beat it. And the gameplay is fairly simple. I mean, run side to side and shoot. But you can also like switch weapons, as you guys would say. But using after beating certain bosses, you can get their weapons. But yeah, unlike Metroid or Contra, you can only shoot in 2 directions, so that creates a whole other layer of difficulty. And I can't remember if this was a thing in the first game, like pressing down and jump lets you slide I can't remember if that was in the first game.
No, that's not in the first game. So there's no charge and there's no slide in the first one. So it's very just platform run and gun shoot basic.
Yeah.
And that's also why I think Kevin said this probably isn't the one to start with, because it's high difficulty level, and you will get hit and there's kind of nothing you can do about it. So when you go screen to screen, you're learning them for the first time, and that's like, if I wasn't so in tune with Mega Man, just kind of level creation, I guess is a way to put it, I definitely would have struggled a lot harder.
Oh, I struggled. I sucked at this game.
How far did you get, Joey? Like, what boss did you start with?
I didn't even make it to any one of the bosses, but I tried Cut Man, I tried Bomber Man or Bomb Man, whatever.
Bomb Man, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, I just don't know the enemies, and then there'd be like one enemy that always kill me, and I'm just trying to still learn the patterns, but I don't know them, so I died a lot.
Yellow Devil in this game can suck a dick. He's the worst. You shoot him once in the eye, and that's all you get to shoot him at. And then he does his stupid little disintegration coming at you, and he hits you once, and you lose like fucking fifth of your health immediately. It's fucking garbage. It lasts way too long. I hate it.
They dig up the devil thing all the time. Like, I don't know if they think they're being cute, but once in a while, like what I just played, Mega Man 9 and 10, and they have their own little versions, like there's a green devil and a whatever, and it's like the same thing. You got to shoot the eye when these blocks float around you, and Capcom fucking stop. I don't like it. Nobody liked any devil ever. It sucks. Stop it.
All right, who was everyone's favorite, I guess, stage to boss?
I like Gutsman is just iconic, but I think I like Electman the best.
Electman stage, I think, was one of the more difficult ones, but it definitely had the most going on.
Oh, and in an Electman stage, I think there's an item you need to get solely in that stage. No, you need his power to get something at the end of Wily Castle, or one way or the other. And there was no way of that game telling you that beforehand. That was another bullshit thing about this game I just remembered.
Well, you need you need the Gutsman. I think you need to beat Gutsman before getting to Electman, because you need the Guts ability to get to the block so you can get the platform ability.
Something like that. It was really dumb, and you would have no way of doing this like ahead of time.
Yeah, I think it's more. The way I kind of had it in my head is, the reasoning is, if you're booting this up for the first time, you're going to learn the stage first, and then you realize, oh, I can't beat that stage because I need to go to another one first, and then you just kind of go, process of elimination situation. It kind of extends the game life, because, like Colin said, kind of at the top, is the game's actually really short. Once you know kind of which order to go in, you can kind of beat this game in like an hour or less if you're good at it. I obviously was not good at it, so I didn't beat it, but I kind of got to that final gauntlet stage like within 45 minutes, more or less. So I was like, oh man, maybe this isn't as hard. And then I got to the gauntlet. I was like, okay, this is where I lose my mind.
Yeah.
So I Electman, I'll go with the Electman stage for sure. That's what I'll do. I think the first Mega Man does not hold up, especially with the thousands of games that came after it. I think it's one of the weakest ones. It is the first, so it kind of gets a pity pass, but, we're RLR. I'm going to fail Mega Man. Boom. Take that.
Yeah, I pass it.
Joey?
Yeah, I'm good.
Kevin?
I'm failing. Sorry. I love Mega Man, peace and love, but it doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I think I'm going to fail it. It was hard. I think maybe if I spent a lot of time, I could probably get better at it, but I don't really want to.
And there's so many other Mega Mans at this point that are just way better that there's no reason to play the original. and maybe for the classics, we could have played Mega Man 2, because that's the one that really took off the series. But, hey, it's an iconic franchise. This is the original. I think it was worth checking out.
I felt it was best to go back to where it all started.
Yeah, and I do like that. The original Mega Man cartridge is very expensive on the NES, like $80, and that's a weird thing about these Mega Man NES and Super Nintendo cartridges is they're all really expensive now, which is kind of wild.
Not worth $80.
No,
unless you're trying to fill out your collection, it is not worth spending that.
No, and that's why I have Switch Online. That's why I have the GameCube or PS2 compilation discs, where you have like all 10 games in one shot. And there's a lot more compilations that have come out on various consoles over the years. So you can play these in much cheaper avenues.
Yeah.
And Kevin, your last pick of the classics.
All right. I'm always bad at this part, so apologies. So we have Castlevania Rondo of Blood, video game developed by Konami for the PC Engine at first.
Yay!
Which,
PC Engine CD.
No, yeah, CD. Sorry, but if you're a normal person like me, you played the Dracula X on the Super Nintendo, which is essentially the same game with some stuff cut out. And I'm not exactly sure what the differences are between them, but it is a direct prequel to a more famous Castlevania game, which should have been on the classics, but I think we did Symphony of the Night at one point in time. Have you guys done Symphony of the Night?
No, we've never done Symphony of the Night.
Wow, I fucked up. I could have done that one instead, but anyway.
No, I'm glad you picked this one.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I swore we did it, but I was like, whatever. So Rondo of Blood is the weird Castlevania game, or Dracula X, whatever you want to go by, is the weird Castlevania game that nobody really seems to talk about that often. It kind of gets lost in the shuffle with Castlevania 4 and Symphony of the Night, I feel like. One of those two are the ones people always say are the best. I don't know, I could be wrong.
No?
Maybe I'm wrong. No? Which one do you think is best?
Well, I think it's this one.
Well, okay.
Like it's like in the Castlevania world, it's always a conversation between Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. Do you like what Symphony of the Night did to change the game and the updated graphics and gameplay and the flipping castle and whatnot, or do you like the classic Castlevania style and it peaked at Rondo of Blood? And I think a lot of like, maybe it's more of kind of the hipster notion of it all. It's like, the Turbo Duo had Rondo of Blood or whatever.
See, I think this game takes a couple steps back from Castlevania 4. Where, in 4 you can whip in 8 directions, and it just feels smoother and tighter overall compared to this game. Personally, that's a me thing.
All right.
But I actually played this version later, and I started out with the PSP remake of this, and if you want like weird and clunky, that's a way to do it. Just doesn't really translate well. It's like,
don't you need to beat Symphony of the Night first, and then you unlock Rondo of Blood?
You unlock the original. It does like a 2.5D remake of the whole game.
Okay.
That's the original game. It's kind of weird. But this game's obviously very difficult because it's a Castlevania game. I can't remember how many levels there were specifically.
7.
But 7, okay. I would argue this is the hardest Castlevania game I played that wasn't Bloodlines.
Ooh, I disagree.
Really?
Yes. Because I think Castlevania 3 and even Super Castlevania are much harder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I beat this game.
Nice.
Yeah. And there's
save states.
No.
Oh.
Did not. There's a mechanic in this game which is the best, and it is the backflip.
Yeah, okay, I do like that.
This backflip mechanic and the brokenness of the axe item for the bosses is incredible. So it's almost like this side ability or side skill that you want to develop where you want to go if you can get to the boss battles with the axe, you will do very well. And it doesn't matter who it is, namely Namely, you want the axe for the Grim Reaper on the pirate ship.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. If you have any other weapon other than the axe for that one, you will have a bad time. So that's kind of your side side ability there to get through the game. The backflip is very useful because there's a lot of enemies that will come at you, platforms to get to, strategy involved with utilizing this backflip to your advantage. Otherwise, you will get hit. And if you don't master the backflip, or you just don't know it exists, which I think is very common with a lot of people playing this game, they don't know because that's old school Castlevania 1 style to it all, that you just don't think to double jump. And that's kind of a big thing. And dude, you're fucking Richter. that's kind of important, right?
I do like Richter. I actually totally forgot this was also on PS4, and I could have played a more modern version of this.
Yeah, it came out. Yeah,
I fucked up on that part. I do like the life bosses on enemies in this game. I know they were in like the older Castlevanias, but something about seeing like the vertical one, very Mega Man style, like it makes me feel like I'm making more progress because I forget to look up at like the top bar in the old Castlevania games.
I love when games show you how much life a boss has left, or at least some sort of physical indicator that they're going down, rather than just you pump a million bullets and then it just, it dies.
Yeah, I like that too.
So that is that. I mean, I enjoyed this game. I just personally, again, I feel 4 was better. I don't know, something about it just feels more smooth, and I do think this gets lost in the shuffle of history more often than not.
Well, I think it does on the fact that, I mean, before the latest re-releases, prior to that, it was just very weird to come by. Like, you would have to get like a repro cart, you'd have to settle for Dracula X on the Super Nintendo, which has like, I think, level changes, and it's just totally different design, so it's kind of comes across as a different game. I mean, it released on the Turbo Duo, the PC Engine CD, which like nobody had. It only came out in Japan. That's another one. I mean, I didn't really get to play this game, but I always heard about it because look, the original Castlevania was something I had on the NES, and I loved to death as a kid. But it was just one of those games I always heard about, and until I got like a Wii U and it came out on the fucking Nintendo's Virtual Console, never got to play it. So that shows like how much time had to go by before those days. So only like a hardcore retro collectors really knew about this game, and then like I said earlier, I think it was just kind of a hipster movement that actually Rondo of Blood's the best.
Same people that think Final Fantasy VIII's the best Final Fantasy.
Whoa, buddy! Hey.
I'm sorry, did I struck a nerve?
Whoa, buddy! let's not go there. Maybe I changed my mind. Maybe after I played Final Fantasy VI, I changed my mind.
Well,
didn't think of that, did you?
Then. No, I did. Final Fantasy VI is the best 2D one for sure.
Okay. Joey, what was your experience with Castlevania Rob?
Well, to be honest, I can't really tell the difference between Castlevania games. I don't play them enough to know.
Oh!
They all feel the same to me, just different graphics. I did have to play Dracula X because I couldn't find Rondo of Blood.
That's fair.
Then I watched a video and it looked different, so I don't know what that's about, but I kept dying like all Castlevania games. Feels like my whip doesn't actually kill enemies and they end up hurting me pretty good. But, I mean, it's not bad. I don't really have much more to say.
How far did you get? Like level 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I got past too far. I mean, I got through a couple different screens through it, but no, I didn't get that far.
Well, I really like how this game starts out with the chariot kind of cinematic battle in the prologue. You bust it out. It's got the like castle on fire kind of deal in the background. I thought it really brought a new, like it has like little anime cutscenes into it. That's a good little win for me immediately. It's got little voice acting I thought was really cool. Maybe Richter is a little too kind of Street Fighter Ryu designed to them all. That's might be on purpose there. The levels never came across as incredibly hard. I thought one thing this game did very well to improve upon the gameplay was the fact that you can jump onto the stairs, which was another strategy implemented throughout later levels.
Yeah, I do like that. I always felt like something I should have been able to do in Castlevania games ahead of time, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
There was that level with I don't know if it's like a dock or a bunch of water in the ground, but I really never like jumping on platforms in water through games. I always feel like I'm going to mistime it, and I definitely died once or twice from the merman just popping out of the water and being like, nope, you die here.
So one thing you should be aware of is a lot of these stages have branching paths. And what those branching paths are is difficulty level to the game. So that's why I was able to beat it. I always chose the easier path. And one of the hardest paths, and one of the harder paths is going down into that area you were describing with the mermen, because you have to do precision platforming in a Castlevania game, which is never good. And the mermen will come up and give you knockback and kill you in basically one hit because you'll fall through the pit, basically.
Eat it.
Yeah. So
it's a good game, but I'm mad at it.
I mean, that's the replay value, though, are these branching paths. That's what Castlevania 3 did and started to implement. And that's something a lot of people critically acclaim the game for, except it doesn't have infinite continues. This one does. You can just hit restart, keep going. You got to start the stage over. But there was only one area I really struggled with, and that was the it's Castlevania, so you always got to have like a clock gear work area to it all. And once you like figure out the gimmick to the area, you can kind of get through it, because there's a section before it where you're on a bridge and the bridge is collapsing, which is really, really cool for the time, because this came out in 1993, fall of 93. So it kind of gives you a even better idea of kind of how ahead of the time this game was, I think. And there's just a bunch of shitty bats and everything. And again, if you have the axe, then you'll do fine. And one of the main things this game implements or encourages you to do more of is use your special item weapon, because those will generally kill those enemies in one hit, as opposed to your whip, which will do 2 or 3. And that makes a big difference when getting through certain areas. And I don't know about you guys, but playing past Castlevania games or other ones, I'm very conservative with using those weapons, because it seems hearts are less frequent, because you have to use hearts to use that secondary weapon. And in this one, they're much more frequent, cost way less, and there's a special attack for each of the weapons, which is really cool. So if you have like the cross and you have like 1 or 2 pegs of health left, you can activate, if you have 20 hearts, you can activate the special attack to it essentially clears the screen with a super attack, and it gives you a short moment of infinite frames, where instead of getting hit, you utilize the attack and you will save your life, basically. It's a really cool thing they implemented into this. And Dracula is not the hardest boss in this game. He's actually one of the easier ones, because again, just figure out the backflip and you'll just backflip over the thing. It's actually the boss before him that's really, really hard, and that's Ghost Shaft. So you face Shaft twice.
Yeah, gross.
What? Gross?
Yeah.
Ghost Shaft?
Because penis.
Oh, okay. Penis jokes. It's a German thing. Game starts in German, by the way. Really cool. So another point for me. Yeah, but Ghost Shaft he has a minotaur that comes out of the ground. Use the back jump. Then he has this kind of like gargoyle dragon thing that has fireballs, and he comes and attacks you. But Ghost Shaft kind of appears and disappears on the screen, and you have to, it feels like it's cheap hits, but it's really teaching you to get timing down and to figure out where he appears. It's always the same pattern. So I died there about 4 or 5 times before finally figuring that out. And it's really just figuring out the gimmick with Rondo of Blood, and I can't really say that about any other Castlevania game. It actually felt like it's the most fair out of them all, even though it's still pretty difficult. It still felt very fair.
Yeah, I mean, I like this game, but not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's not going to be the one I normally think of and go to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't feel that way. I feel like this is, if I'm going to pop in any Castlevania game, it's going to be this one.
I think all Castlevania games, well, not all. Most Castlevania games are pretty good, so.
A lot of them are. Okay, Kevin, side question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Lord of Shadow series? Castlevania / God of War.
I just haven't played them, but I got them on the shelf. At least I have one of them. So I want to play them because I do like hack and slashy God of War, turn your brain off, big penis games. So
yeah, because I remember when those came out, or at least Lord of Shadow came out, people really criticized it for being God of War, and it's not good. But I wonder if it's just because it was trying to be God of War, people just were overcritical of it instead of just pretending it's its own game.
You still got to try what is it, Curse of Darkness on the Xbox, and what was the other one? Lament of Innocence.
We played Curse of Darkness.
That's right, you did. Lament of Innocence is the other one.
We have not played that.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just as good.
That's on my list as well. There's a theme I think worth checking out later. Do the sequels hold up, or kind of situation? That'd be a fun topic. Colin, anything you want to add?
I played the PS4 version that I downloaded that comes as a bundle with Symphony of the Night.
Oh, cool.
It was on sale at one point, and I've had it on my hard drive for a couple of years. And the one that they have on there is the TurboGrafx version. That is the PC Engine CD.
Did you play that version?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yes, okay. We played the same one. What do you think?
Well, it's got what has to be the most anime-ass opening to a Castlevania game I've ever seen.
Hell yeah.
Thus far. And I was not expecting to hear the menu music of Circle of the Moon in this game.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the exact same music.
Cool.
I don't know if it's in any of the other ones. But yeah, and I found that menu a little confusing to navigate, but I got through it ultimately. I like the visuals. It's very, very along the lines of most TurboGrafx games at the time. Very colorful, and the lighting and rendering of the backgrounds is top notch. Parallaxing is really good. The music gave me a bunch of flashbacks to Ys 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which was also a PC Engine CD game. And it's pretty linear. I'm guessing this game was in mind when making Bloodstained Curse of the Moon.
Yeah,
so that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Yeah, Bloodstained also has branching paths, same sort of style. It's Bloodstained is more of the NES versions, but with kind of Rondo of Blood gameplay to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you can also change characters. Did any of you successfully unlock any of the other characters?
I was only able to get Maria, and then I never played her.
Yeah, same here.
I did not.
Yeah, Maria just shoots birds, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I had a really hard time with stage 2 because those green guys in the purple robes were really annoying. I kept running into them while I'm trying to jump across a gap and then falling into the wrong spot.
That'll do it.
And the bats were absolute assholes, along with the crows. But I did successfully get to stage 4. And ultimately, I liked it. I mean, it's very old school Castlevania. It's good to go back and see some of the precursors to more modern ones. So yeah, I passed this one.
Yeah, I passed it as well.
I'll also give it a pass. Yeah.
Hey, all right.
4 pass.
Okay.
Unless you want me to throw it off, I can throw it off if you want.
No. So the 5 games we picked were Super Mario Bros. NES, GoldenEye 007 N64, Pitfall Atari 2600, Mega Man on the NES, and Castlevania Rondo of Blood on the PC Engine CD. Kevin,
Right.
favorite,
Hi.
least favorite game, and the tiers, sir.
Let's see. Favorite game is Super Mario Brothers. That's an S tier game right there. I love that. What goes next? I guess next would be Castlevania. I'd give that one a B.
Oh, only a B.
No,
Okay.
I kind of want to give it an A. The more I'm thinking about it, it's like I don't know. I won't go back to it like right away. But if somebody brought it over to play, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah, give it an A. Mega Man, I would give a C, and it hurts me because I love Mega Man a lot. And then Goldeneye can be, what's worse, Goldeneye or Pitfall?
Oh,
I'll
GoldenEye.
give, Goldeneye I can at least play with other people and have like a bad time on purpose kind of deal. You know what? All right, Pitfall then Goldeneye. I would Pitfall C, Goldeneye D.
Ooh, okay. Colin, why don't you go next?
Favorite, Super Mario Bros. Least favorite, probably GoldenEye. Mario gets an S. GoldenEye, C. Pitfall, B. Mega Man, also B. Castlevania, A.
Joey.
I actually have the same ratings as Kevin. Best is Super Mario Brothers. Worst is GoldenEye. Super Mario Brothers an S. Castlevania gets an A. Mega Man and Pitfall get a C, and GoldenEye gets a D. If the music wasn't good, I might have given it an F.
Ooh.
I'm almost the same as Colin, but I'm also giving GoldenEye a D. So, yeah. Pretty cool that we're all kind of sort of on the same page.
Mhm.
So that makes, okay, so I'll just kind of round up for Mega Man here. That makes, Mario's an S, GoldenEye is a D, Pitfall is a B, I'll just round up. Mega Man's also a B, I'll also round up. And Rondo of Blood is an A. So funny enough, GoldenEye probably has the most nostalgia with many people that listen to this podcast, and we bury it.
Well, you know what? You guys need to accept something. It's not that great.
And we also can accept first-person shooters don't really age well.
Not in this era. Not in this era. They don't.
I think Medal of Honor on the PlayStation is one of the few I think holds up.
Yeah, there's also Doom.
Doom holds up, yeah.
Ooh.
In a weird, different sort of way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't
Yeah,
hold up
people
on the
are
3DO. I can
People are
confirm
still
that.
adding to the brutal mod.
Kevin, were you on the podcast still when we played Doom on the 3DO?
That sounds familiar. I mean, there's so many ways to play Doom, you know.
How you have to change the window setting to its smallest degree so the frame rate isn't chugging the whole time?
Oh, but that sounds about right, to be honest.
If you approach walls, the frame rate catches up. As soon as you move away from a wall, it loses like 30 frames per second.
Really happy the 3DO exists. It reminds me that I was blessed not to have suffered such a childhood.
It's funny. All right, so our next topic and theme is console launch titles 2. And that is Kay's pick. And that'll be kind of the last of our 5 games per episode, and then we're going to kind of change it up a little bit there after that.
All right.
Wait.
So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Kevin, it was nice having you back for this episode.
Hey. I'll come back sometime.
And see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye now.